Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites. How you doing? How is everyone? Okay, we got super chats jumping off already. I want to make sure I get everyone. Thank you, Gregory. Said hi. Kendra, early donation mentioned this on Kosher Clinician last night. I admire you, Kosher BGS, Dr. Thunder, Dr. Neil, Chantel, Angry Man, Edward, Dennis, for example. You all go beneath the surface. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Quiet Storm said Travis Rudolph and Dominique Jones are both free and living their lives. One of them shouldn't be free. I'll let you all decide which one should be behind bars. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Thank you so much as well. Thank you so much. Espace say good afternoon. Please check your email. I will check my email after the show. Thank you so much. Thank you to Ray. I'm gonna play these sound bites as long as my speakers cooperating. Thank you so much. Barry Little says, salute everybody. Happy belated birthday, Kendra. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got a lot to talk about because I can't say that I sat here and watched the entire trial minute for minute, but I did watch quite a few hours of the trial. Okay. I didn't just watch the little popular snippets. I was actually watching the testimony of Dominique. I watched Travis's testimony. I watched his brother's testimony. I didn't get all the way through his mother's testimony, though. I watched some of Tyler's testimony. And I watched part of, and I still want to do it even after this show, part of the defense kind of cross-examining the police, the lead investigators of the case. Okay. And what I really want to highlight at this point is the interesting relationship. I wish I had something to set these lights on. Because if I could just bring this light up, you see what I'm saying? Y'all see what kind of difference that is? Oh my God. I got the little table lights and I don't have nothing to set them on. So they are low. I definitely wish I had something to set them on. Because I would set them real high. But anyway, never mind me. What I really want to point out is the relationship between the state and Black women. Actually, I'm not at home. That's why my background is different. I'm not at home. I came out for my birthday to visit my husband. I can't wait until like the move is done. You know, that's what I'm saying. I got lights. You can see them in the reflection of my glasses. But I have to be mindful that every time I travel, there's a different environment. So I can't travel with these huge, cumbersome things. I have to maintain that they're small and portable because sometimes I'm driving, sometimes I'm on the plane, and packing and traveling and packing up your studio can be challenging if you don't think about that. Think about what you need and how you need to use it. And think about the fact that you're in different environments with different lighting, with different setups. You might not have the ability to set certain things up a certain way all the time. But thank you, Wesley said, peace and blessings on you and your marriage. Also, those men messed around and found out. I'm glad Travis was found not guilty. Keep cooking. I'm very, very, very glad that Travis was found not guilty. Okay. Very happy that he was found guilty. Not guilty, rather. Found happy that he was found not guilty. But the reason why I wanted to point out the the reason why I wanted to point out the correlation or the relationship between Black women and the state for Black men's destruction is because I think that was the underlying story that was really being told in this trial. The fact that this went to trial, the fact that Dominique was never one who was investigated necessarily. Um, when we take a look at the investigation, let's just start there. I watched the prosecutor's closing argument, okay? And her closing argument, I know she had to get up there and say something. She couldn't just not say nothing. But her closing argument really proved Travis's case. Dominique got up there and in all of her wanting to be smart mouth and wanting to show that she was tough and wanting to show that the defense attorney wasn't going to get the best of her and all of these sorts of things, she ended up really winning the case for Travis because of her attitude. I thought that the female defense attorney did a wonderful job, even though she herself was getting a little flustered. I thought she did a wonderful job of exposing Dominique's personality and being able to push her buttons and show just how off kilter and snappy that Dominique actually is. Thank you so much, Mocha Girl. And when we look at the investigation, quote unquote, as it were, that led to Travis's arrest, when you interview people for all of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you talk to people, you go over, quote unquote, facts. When a detective, the lead detective on a case, is investigating the case, what they're really doing is several things. The purpose of the investigation is to gather evidence and be able to put forward to be able to either assert a case or be able to say, no, we don't have a case. Okay? Thank you, Top Box and Sarah Masculinity in Court helped Travis win his case. It did. Thank you, Marcus, says she's evil for doing that to Travis. She's evil for not only doing that to Travis, but for doing that to her brother, the three other men, the three other young men, whatever she did to her ex-husband. This one don't care about nothing. But when we look at the investigation, when you have an investigation going on, especially when there has been loss of life, the detectives are trying to establish whether or not this is something that the DA needs to handle, something that needs to actually be a case. They're trying to determine that according to the circumstances, according to evidence, according to witnesses, they're trying to piece together the sequence of events that led to whatever outcome they are investigating. Along the way, they are also trying to determine whether or not this was like in this particular case, there was a loss of life. So now they have to determine whether or not this is homicide. They have to determine whether or not this is what was the circumstances of the death. They have to determine they just have a lot to determine here in the case like this. When someone has lost their life, was it justified that they lost their life, or was the person that took their life completely out of order? And should they now bring charges, should the state now bring charges upon the person of interest? Okay, so they are in the course of such an investigation. Typically, detectives will question witnesses several times. And the reason that they will question witnesses, especially people who were there at the time that the potential crime was committed, because that's the thing that detectives are trying to determine, whether or not an actual crime was committed that resulted in this outcome. So when you have things like that going on, typically, like I said, a detective will investigate. They will question, especially the people who were there and involved. They will question them several times. The purpose of questioning them several times is to establish the credibility of the witnesses. Are the witnesses' stories corroborating? Do the witnesses' stories corroborate with one another? Do the stories that they telling, do those stories corroborate with the evidence that was found at the scene? Whatever forensics came up with, okay? Do these stories, does it make any sense? You want to know if a witness is changing their story. If you come ask them the same question, if I ask you a question today and then 3 days later I ask you that same question, am I going to get the same answer? Or am I going to get a different answer? An answer that is completely different or different enough from the answer that you gave me the first time? Because now I'm trying to establish certain things with you. I'm trying to see who's more likely to be telling me the truth in this situation and who is more likely to be lying in this situation. Am I right or wrong? Thank you so much. Let's see, I call Mocha Girl. Thank you, Ty. I call Ty Marcus. Thank you, Damien. Said, let that good cooking begin. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Beshua. So I'm happy for the outcome as well in terms of Travis. Females like Dominique are the reason why SYSBM and Passport Bros exist. So many men's lives are destroyed because of her. Exactly. Thank you, your nosy French neighbor. Thank you so much. So when you have these investigations, the investigations itself, even if it seems open and shut, even if the evidences and all of the things that the detectives are finding seem to be open and shut and solid, they will still come back. If there are any witnesses or people of interest, they will come back to question. They will look at any surveillance. They're doing detective work. That means they're doing deductive reasoning. If there were cameras, if somebody else's Ring camera on, maybe we can see the incident from another angle. Was anyone else up? Questioning the neighbors, canvassing. Well, did anybody else hear the commotion that was going on? What did you think was going on? What did you hear? Was there anything? Do you have Ring cameras or security cameras on your property that may have picked up any audio or video of what was going on so that we can utilize it in order to put together the tapestry to the best of our ability to see what happened, what makes the most sense as to what happened and who might be actually telling the truth about this? Listening to the 911 call that was made when Sebastian was dying. The prosecution played that 911 call in her closing arguments. And you could hear them actively trying to circumvent the fact that they had actually gone to Travis's house to cause problems, which is why Sebastian even got shot in the first place. They were not trying to explain to the dispatch exactly how that happened. But they did make sure to drop Travis's name in full. So the reason why I'm going on about what an investigation typically entails is the fact that all of that was largely missing in this investigation. Not much was done in the way of truly trying to find an answer. Thank you, Professor Carlton. And PG County, a 14-year-old girl, did the same thing as Dominique, and she's being charged as an adult, along with her teenage co-conspirators for attempted deletion of a 15-year-old boy. Exactly, and I did a video on that. So I'm not sure why Dominique is not being charged with anything. And this is what I'm saying. The fact that she wasn't charged with anything. So you mean to tell me that the state of Florida and everybody that investigated this case, everybody that tried this case, everybody that was involved on either side of this case didn't see anything wrong with what Dominique had done? Thank you, 39 Dina. Nobody saw, nobody is questioning this. Nobody is. The only thing that was of concern to the state was a black man took another person's life. We don't really care what the circumstances were, because we all know that black men are not truly able to defend themselves. Not really. Okay? He can't use deadly force to defend himself, his family, nor his property. He's not allowed to do that. Okay? So many people, a lot of people understood this case for what it was. And so for the majority of people who commented all over social media, they understood that Travis should walk free. There was a large consensus about that. But there was a not so small percentage of people who were like, oh, he should have gone back in the house and called the police. We don't say, or he should have known that the imminent threat was over, and therefore he should not have shot anymore. This was the ground that the prosecution was trying to stand on. They were trying to stand on the ground that because the assailants were supposedly driving away at the very time that Travis began to shoot, that Travis should not have shot. And that is where it was excessive force, and it went from self-defense to murder. How we need, and riddle me this. Riddle me this, y'all. Thank you, Habitual Line Stepper said, let's be honest, Crimson Knights, we know exactly why they charged Travis. It was his status. Any other time they would took the other 4 bodies for their system. That's true. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Let me see if I can even just bring these a little bit closer. We'll bring this just a tad bit. Do it just a little bit better. Just trying to get the lighting just a little bit better. Okay. It's a little bit better. Thank you, Miss Lou Casely. The issue here, like I was trying to say, just because the assailants are driving away, that was the leg that the prosecution was trying to stand on, that Travis was excessive in his use of force. And he was supposed to be able to delineate and make the difference between when his life was in danger and when it wasn't. Why do we expect a civilian to understand that, but we don't expect police who are trained to use their weapons and trained to be in certain situations to make that distinction? When you can have 2 or 3 officers emptying their clips into a car with 1 person in it, and then they get off claiming that they thought that somebody had a weapon and they felt like their life was in danger, so therefore they was justified in emptying their clip into a whole car, and then nothing happens. But we want a civilian to be able to have better restraint. Because when they deleting black men It doesn't matter whether or not it was excessive or whether or not it was justified or whether or not, see, it doesn't matter. If there was not a public hue and cry about the death of George Floyd, nobody would have said nothing and Chauvin would have got off. It was only because there were worldwide demonstrations, because the 8-minute and so many seconds video was so disturbing. It was so disturbing to watch a man literally struggle until his last breath, and the person has his hands in his pockets, got his mitts in his pockets, looking dead at the phone cameras like, oh well. But we want to try to say that Travis Rudolph should have known better. That Travis Rudolph should have known better than the police officers all around the country. Right? And now we want to question whether or not he saw a gun. It was one there. They had one. It's better than when the police say it and then it end up it ain't no gun nowhere. So how you saw a gun that don't even exist? But Travis couldn't see a gun that obviously they found. And that they admitted to having and bringing with them. Correct? So that's number one, right? That's basically number one. Black men do not really have the right to defend themselves in this country. They don't have that right. Black men are supposed to allow themselves to be victims. Black men are supposed to cower. Black men are supposed to just allow whatever is supposed to be happening to them or gonna happen to them or whoever's gonna target them or whoever's gonna delete them or fight them or rob them or beat them up or hurt them or whatever it is that they're going to do. Black men should just let it happen. That's really what we're talking about here. Black men should just let that happen. And maybe if he begged the system, might one time out of 20 see him as the victim and then try to say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and give you a little something. You've got Black men who have served so much time in prisons for crimes that they did not commit, and the state don't be wanting to pay. The state be like, all right, we'll let you go, but that's about it. Best we can do is just let you out, but we're not gonna come up with a substantial amount of money to try to get you back able to live in society. We don't care. That was time you were supposed to give us, regardless of whether you was guilty of anything or not. You're guilty of being a Negro. That's what you're guilty of being the N-word with the hard ER on it. That's your guilt right there. That's what you're really serving time for. That's what you're really serving time for. That's why the state don't be sorry. That's why they don't sorry. They'll issue a little old bootleg little statement or something like that, but they don't be sorry about that. And they don't care that they wasted 10, 20, sometimes 30 years of your life or more. Whole world unchanged. And that man been sitting in a cell innocent. Thank you, Bruce. Said a Black man have to be perfect for their actions before they can get an acquittal. He should have never been charged. Exactly. Thank you, Johnny BX. You're serving time because that's where your black behind belong, in a cage somewhere. That's what the system say. Thank you, Kevin said, come to put some on the gas bill so you can keep cooking. Thank you so much. So they was ready to get Travis. So sure of his conviction. I'm going to tell you how sure, before we go to a quick commercial, I'm going to tell you how sure they was about the conviction. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to know how sure the DA, how sure the state was of a conviction for Travis. I'm going to show you the arrogance of it all. Put a 1 in the chat for me. Because they charged him, they were trying to get him for first-degree murder. That was their level of confidence in being able to convict Travis on this case. Their level of confidence was such that they didn't go for manslaughter. They didn't go for second degree. They didn't go for none of those lesser charges, which actually might have stuck. Had they gone for manslaughter, he might would have went to jail. I'm going to just be honest. Because you can go to jail for manslaughter even on an accident. But they went all the way to first degree premeditated murder. That's how I knew he was really going to get off. But it shows you the arrogance of the state. They really tried the DA really took that case to trial with that charge. Probably tried to get him to get a plea deal. That's the other one, the plea deal. You don't want to go to take this to trial? Yeah, actually, I do want to take it to trial. I will have better chances. I'll take my chances with a jury than sitting here with you and a judge and my life in y'all hands. No. When I know what you're trying to get out of me, you trying to get all my time, all my money, and my life out of me. No. The first degree charge, had he been found guilty on all 4 counts, he was looking at life. He was looking at life. Life imprisonment on premeditated murder? Do you know what the state has to go through to prove murder 1? Do you know what kind of evidence has to be overwhelming for the state to feel comfortable with heading to trial on a murder 1 charge? Do you know what kind of nearly irrefutable evidence it would have to be? That is how confident the state was in a conviction of a Black man, no matter the circumstances. We're going to get down into the nitty gritty because I just wanted to set the stage. But we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. But after these messages, we'll be right back.
Hello, my Crimsonites and all of my supporters. I invite you to go and get your copy of my new book, Reclaiming the Black Feminine, The Lies of Feminism and the Road to Recovery, on sale now at crimsoncure.com. this is guaranteed to change your perspective and positively impact your life. So go ahead now to crimsoncure.com and get your copy today.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Beshua. Said, I bet this hyena loses no sleep over Sebastian's death. He died because of her. I hope somewhere down the line, her spirit becomes uneasy as a result. I don't know, Miss Beshua. I really don't know. Thank you, Mike C. Says stand your ground should mean just what it says. The DA should be pursued for malfeasance. Probably not, may or may not. I don't know. Because the case was lost, the DA's job may not be safe, but had the case been won, it would have been good for the DA. That's my whole. Somebody asked this question, and this is the travesty of it all. Spark LITD said, a little confused. Were the 3 remaining male perps not in jail? I never followed the case other than listening to Crimson and PBL. That's the horror of it. They wasn't even on trial at all. They wasn't charged with nothing. None of them were charged with anything. Just Travis. Nobody saw a problem with her instigating it. Nobody saw a problem with the men coming to his house. Nobody saw a problem with them starting to fight. They only saw a problem when Travis defended himself and it ended up in one of them dying. Now all of a sudden, Travis is the bad guy. None of them was never charged. The state did not see them as the aggressor. That's the whole tragedy of it all. But before I continue, I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button, bam, bam. You got to uh, uh, uh. Thank you once again, Miss Beshua. So either way, she gonna pay, be it this life or the next. She's a pariah nonetheless in the sight of decent Black society. She is, and she'll get what's coming to her, because what go around come around, and that go for everybody. Undani, leave me alone, Undani, because he done sat up there and said she built like Baloo. She looking for the bare necessities. Don't tell me she over here looking for the bare necessities of life. But here is the thing. The fact that Dominique was not questioned as a person of interest is proof positive of the relationship between the state and Black women, and Black women's usefulness as a tool of destruction to Black men. I want y'all to absorb that. The fact that she was, listen, she got on the stand and admitted to a courtroom that she had deleted pertinent text messages. The defense pointed out not only that she had deleted specific text messages that would prove her part in everything, but also searches about self-defense, stand your ground, attorneys, interesting searches. And she's not a person of interest. In point of fact, not only is she not a person of interest in this case, her credibility was supposedly good enough for the state to put her on the stand. Her credibility not shot? That don't shoot your credibility down. When you have instigated some mess and the mess reach a deadly outcome, and you get the deleting text messages that implicate you and that implicate what you said and what you did and the role that you played in all of this, you mean to tell me that the police didn't find nothing wrong with that? They didn't find nothing to charge her with? And on top of that, she felt just as confident with the state, because when the defense brought it up, she got smart about it. She got smart. She got a smart mouth. She was like, I mean, it's not illegal to search that stuff. I just wanted to see. The only way that they found out that it was her in the group chat is because you can't erase it from other people's phone. And she was too stupid to have them to erase the group chat, which you can recover them chats. I mean, is it illegal to look that stuff up? Could be. Depending on the circumstances, it's mighty fishy, tell you that. It's a lot of stuff legal in certain contexts and become illegal in other contexts. It's a lot of things. Thank you, Your Excellency. And the one that banged on his mother's door is the one who was deleted. There's no reason why that GoFundMe should have raised over 20K for him. Right. They tried to position Sebastian as an innocent guy. Like, even the prosecution closing arguments was trying to characterize it like they just showed up to talk and they were all friends. When Travis clearly said he ain't know nobody but Keyshawn. He don't know them. Hoppo, who these people? I don't know them. He started talking to Keyshawn because that's who he recognized, not these other three jokers. When the story first broke, Travis was the one that was characterized as this aggressive ex-NFL player who deleted somebody and it was unjustified. It was implied that it was unjustified. And that maybe he thought he would get off because of his so-called high NFL status. Listen, let me tell you something. Travis did not get as far in the end, and I didn't follow his career, but just because of this case, learning how he got out of the NFL and why he was trying to go through the CFL. When you are a wide receiver, and especially if you're not necessarily a star wide receiver, or even if you have star potential, you haven't been on a team long enough to establish yourself as the star in your position. If you have a devastating injury that's gonna put you out for a long touchdown, I'm reading the thing, for a long time, a team is gonna let you go. They're gonna let you go. Okay? From what I was able to read, he had a knee injury that was pretty devastating, stopped him from playing. If you're not the star wide receiver, the star teams, they don't want to spend the money to have you on IR, paying you, especially if you second, third string, whatever string he was. They let you go. So I'm saying that to say he wasn't in the league long enough and didn't do enough in the league to secure a really big contract that would set him up for life. He didn't really do that. And, sometimes you can't help it. You get an injury, whatever, you can't really help the outcome of that. He had to be good because you got to be good to even get to the NFL, right? But, if an injury happened to you, those contracts are not guaranteed. So therefore, a team doesn't have to keep paying you. They can let you go and you figure your way back to the NFL if you can. He needed to get himself back in physical shape, because once you have like a knee injury or something like that, as a wide receiver especially, you have to prove through gameplay your mobility, your ability to run and juke and, make lateral moves and things like that the way you did prior to your injury. The NFL or teams in the NFL might not have been so quick to pick him up. Sometimes you pick somebody up on the waiver wire. Sometimes you pick him up as a, free agent. It all depends. So he was trying to go through the CFL because it's easier to get there, especially if you were already in the NFL at some point. Get yourself physically ready, show up. You got to show up, and you got to show up at those tryouts, and you got to be on point for these teams to look at you, see your potential, see that you had an injury, and feel that you could come back from that and be an asset to them. That's a lot to do. That's actually a lot to do. And it's not easy to do. I remember a long time ago, there was a TV show that was just like that. I think Deion Sanders was hosting it, where it was running backs. No, it was wide receivers, and it was secondary, right? It was secondary, safeties, stuff like that, right? Y'all remember that show? And it was a lot of them guys, and it wasn't Deion. No, it might have been Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin was hosting it because they was trying to get back, and the deal was if you won in the show, you could get on the Cowboys. You could get on the Cowboys team. So it was DBs against wide receivers. Y'all remember that show? This was years ago. 4th and long. Thank you. Now, I'm not trying to get into a long thing with the football. My point is saying that Travis did not have this status and this money that people generally associate with being in the NFL. It's levels to being in the NFL. It's the top players that get the best contracts, that get the most lucrative contracts. It's players right underneath that. And then those third string on down practice squad guys, those guys are not making big bucks to begin with. They're not making millions of dollars. So I'm not saying he was broke. I'm saying he wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? He didn't make the money Brandon Marshall would have made over the years. He didn't make the money Ocho Cinco would have made. You see what I'm saying? He didn't make that money. Thank you, Roderick. Say happy belated birthday. Oh, thank you so much. Let's see if my speakers is cooperating today. Right now. Thank you so much, Roderick. Thank you again, Miss Beshua. Said he's not making that Jalen Hurts money. Yeah, he not making that money. He ain't making, you know what I'm saying? Whoever the top wide receivers is in the game now. I ain't kept up with football in a few years. But whoever the top wide receivers are now. So I'm saying that to say that perceived status that the media was trying to put out about Travis, oh, he's an elite type, he a uppity Negro. He a uppity Negro, y'all. He think he a white man around here because he was in the NFL. And we know how these NFL Negroes are. They aggressive anyway, and they fighting count anyway, and they do all kind of other stuff anyway. So it's not too far-fetched to believe that he is so aggressive that he would be itchy, got an itchy trigger finger, and he would be ready to delete somebody. Yay, crazy. Black men are always crazy. Because had he died, that would have been the story. He certainly wouldn't have been necessarily a victim. Prosecution even tried to play on that whole he was cheating thing and she got emotional. If y'all don't get out of here with that, that woman was married. I don't care if she was really with him or not. And you can't tell me she wasn't. She was trying to use that husband for something. This demonstrated the collusion between the state and Black women. That's what I think. That's what I saw. The whole fact, the mere fact that Travis was on trial and not the three remaining simps and Winnie the Pooh in them, the fact that they wasn't on trial at all tells me about the collusion between the state and Black women on the destruction of Black men. Because see, it don't pay to lock them other boys up. They don't lose nothing. Travis has things to lose. He may or may not have property to lose. He may or may not have any other assets or things like that to lose. Because Winnie the Pooh ain't got nothing to lose. Some weight, but she ain't gonna do that. They allowed that sister girl foolishness to sway the decision to take this all the way to trial. Yeah, I know the assistant DA is a Black woman. They was doing that sister girl stuff. Girl, we gonna get him, girl, because he shouldn't have been saying that to you, girl, and he shouldn't have been cheat. Girl, you out there in his phone. They was doing that sister girl, hyena, we getting together in the sisterhood, hyena foolishness. Hyena, we getting together on some sisterhood foolishness, and we gonna get this Negro, because who he think he is, girl. That's what they was doing. That's why Black women don't need to be in positions of power with say over what happens to Black men, but that's exactly why Zaddy puts them in those positions, because they're gonna default into that mindset whenever there's a Black man. That is why Zaddy puts Black women in positions of being lawyers, attorneys, DAs, all these judges and things of that nature. It's easy for a Black woman to get into that judge seat and all of that, because she's gonna default into the lost value system. She gonna default into the misandry. She gonna default into we hate Black men whenever there's a Black man. And she gonna do what the system has programmed and paid her to do. She gonna do it. This is why when you get in front of them Black female judges, a Black man ain't got a chance, because she gonna throw the book at him harder than a white male judge gonna do. Thank you, Maskrilla. Thank you so much. That's why they put them in HR. That's why they put them in middle management. That's why they put Black women. That is why Zaddy puts Black women in them strategic places to gatekeep Black men. Do we want to talk about that? To gatekeep. Send these Black men over here to prison. Send these to their grave. Demote these. Send these to the streets as homeless men by taking their jobs away and accusing them of sexual harassments and this and that. Don't even hire him to begin with. He's more than qualified for the job. But the hiring manager is a black woman. She's got black girl magic going on. And so she's going to hire a underqualified black woman over a qualified or overqualified black man just to say she denied a black man and helped a sister. Because, you know, we got to look out for each other. These men don't provide and protect. That is their collective job. That is why you have these little celebrities. They'll help them be activists, Black Lives Matter. They'll help them be little celebrities, little talk show hosts, Ebony K, to spew the misandry and gatekeep black folk and keep black people mind in a blender. And destroy black men and the image of black men and the reputations of black men whenever they get a chance. Thank you once again, Miss Beshua said facts is the same happened with Meek Mill. He stood before a black woman judge at least 3 times. She threw the book at him. State Supreme Court overruled her and now he's free. Exactly. Because that's what they be doing. That's what they be doing. Ruin him financially, ruin a poor man. Ruin the poor man in all of his values, life values. Ruin his health. Break his family up. Ruin his public appearance. Destroy his home, his dwelling. Destroy his mobility. How many black men can't do anything, can't go anywhere because of past child support? Huh? How many black men have their mobility restricted because they're convicted of child support when you're not even supposed to be going to debtor's prison? But they be in there for a debt. And it don't matter what kind of story he come with. We have seen these child support cases play out in real life where these men be like, I don't have nothing. I can't pay that. I don't mind paying, but I can't pay. And the state be like, oh, well, and she be sitting there. It be a black woman somewhere doing some paperwork, and it be the chick that's dragging him through the court system, and it be a white judge somewhere in cahoots. And we not supposed to see that. Black men not supposed to see that. Not supposed to see that happening all around him. Correct? Thank you, Nia Moon said, make it plain, sis. Had to stop through. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again, Damien said to the last person's comment, that judge was under investigation for doing that to Meek Mill for over a year. Mm-hmm. This how they railroad black men and black women. When they be in those positions, they be complicit in railroading them. When they be the judges, when they be the attorneys, when they be the little secretary doing all the little paperwork. Even down to Winnie the Pooh looking chicks with bad BBLs. Dominique. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to point out the collusion between the state and Black women when it come time to destroy a Black man and everything that he got. This is why his non-guilty verdict is such a blessing. Because at least we get to witness one Black man that didn't have to pay with his life for something that he had every right to do. So I was happy to see Travis out of there. Hopefully he can manage to get past this, maybe, pursue his football career again or whatever it is that he want to do. Hopefully her brothers and his friends learn an important simp lesson, because he understand. I'm gonna say this one more thing before I cut off. He understand the defense is asking him how much he knew prior to going over there, and he ain't know nothing. He ain't knew nothing from a hole in the ground. Did you know she was over there fighting? No. Did you know she was over there breaking stuff in the house? No. And you just ignorant, ain't you? And you know your sister be over there fighting. You know she a wild boar. You know she get Winnie the Pooh, get in his bag and get the cutting up. You know that because she probably fights you and argue with you all the time. Well, did you know she was doing anything? No. Well, if you hadn't known anything, would you have not gone over there? I'm not sure. You just, somebody just need to put something hot in you too. Just for being silly. Are you ready for a hunk of fat and juicy meat? Well, my friend Pumper here says Southern Street, going down and dine on the taste wine. All you gotta do is stand in line. You aching? Yep. For some bacon? Yep. He's a big pig, woo, and you could be a big pig too. Oi! And with that, I am out of here. Thank you so much for coming through, for chilling with me. Thank you for the super chats. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.